And then the final one is creativity. This is another huge mega app. Now, I'm primarily live in the text world, and so I'm going to talk about text-based things. I think so far this has mostly been growing in the imagery world because we're such visual creatures, and the images you can generate are just staggering with AI. It certainly brings up a lot of questions too around IP and artistic style. But the template for this, if you're a builder, that we're seeing in the wild is approximately the following. And the thing I want to point out is domain knowledge here. This is really the purpose of this slide, is to touch on the importance of the domain knowledge. So many people approximately find the creative process as follows. Come up with a big idea, over-generate possibilities, edit down what you over-generated, repeat, right? Like anybody who's been a writer knows when you write way too much, and then you have to delete lots of it. And then you revise and you write way too much, and you have to delete lots of it. This particular task is fantastic for AI. One of the reasons it's fantastic for AI is because it allows the AI to be wrong. You know, you've pre-agreed you're going to delete lots of it. And so if you pre-agree, hey, I'm just going to build, generate 5 possibilities of the story I might tell, 5 possibilities of the advertising headline, 5 possibilities of what I might write my thesis on. You pre-agreed. It's okay if it's a little wrong because you are going to be the editor that steps in. And here's the thing that you really should bring to the table is don't think about this as a technical activity. Think about this as your opportunity not to put GPT in charge. Instead, for you to grasp the steering wheel tighter, I think at least, in Python, or the language you're using to program, because you have the domain knowledge to wield GPT in the generation of those. So let me show you an example of what I mean by that. So this is a cool app that someone created for the Writing Atlas project. So Writing Atlas is a set of short stories. And you can think of it as Goodreads for short stories. So you can go in here, you can browse different stories. And this was something somebody created where you can type in a story description that you like. And this is going to take about a minute to generate. So I'm going to talk while it's generating. And while it's working, what it's doing, and I'll show you the code in a second, is it's searching through the collection of stories for similar stories. And here's where the domain knowledge part comes in. Then it uses GPT to look at what it was that you wanted and use knowledge of how an editor, how a bookseller thinks to generate a set of suggestions specifically through the lens of that perspective, with the goal of writing that beautiful handwritten note that we sometimes see in a local bookstore tacked on underneath a book. And so it doesn't just say, hey, you might like this, here's a general purpose reason why you might like this, but specifically, here's why you might like this with respect to what you gave it. It's either stalling out or it's taking a long time. Oh, there we go. So here's its suggestions. And in particular, these are things that only a human could know, at least for now. 2 humans specifically. The human who said they wanted to read a story, that's the text that came in. And then the human who added domain knowledge to script a sequence of interactions with the language model so that you could provide very targeted reasoning over something that was informed by that domain knowledge. So for these utility apps, bring your domain knowledge. Let me actually show you how this looks in code, because I think it's useful to see how simple and accessible this is. This is really a set of prompts. So why might they like a particular location? Well, here's the prompt that did that. This is an open source project. And it has a bunch of examples, and then it says, well, here's the one that we're interested in. Here's the audience. Here's a couple of examples of why might people like a particular thing in terms of audience. Just another prompt. Same for topic, same for explanation. And if you go down here and look at how it was done, suggesting the story is, what is this? Line 174 to line 203. It really is, and again, like over and over again, I want to impress upon you, this really is within reach. It's really just, what, 20-odd lines of step 1, search in the database for similar stories. Step 2, given that I have similar stories, pull out the data. Step 3, with my domain knowledge in Python, now run these prompts. Step 4, prepare that into an output. So the thing we're scripting itself is some approximation of human cognition, if you're willing to go there metaphorically. We're we're not sure. I'm not going to weigh in on where we are on the is OpenAI a life form argument. All right, one kind of really far out there thing